Are you trying to start a business and you keep hearing around that you need to niche down? And are you tired of that? Let's simplify things. In this video, I'm going to cover what your niche is and what your ideal client is, because that are the only two things you need to know: what your niche is and who is your ideal client. So let's get into this topic. Personally, I like to make things simpler. I like to make things easier, not just overload people with information, not just make things more complicated and you have to do this and that and all the rest. Let's keep it simple. You need to know what your niche is and you need to know who your ideal client is, who you're gonna market to. It's as simple as that. Firstly, we need to understand the difference between two major things. One is what a market is or industry and what a niche is, because these two things are completely different. A market is one thing, an industry is one thing, and a niche is another thing. So a niche is just a particular range of people in that market. It's just a particular category in that market or industry. A market is something broad. A niche is something specific inside that market or industry. So let's look at some examples. Property might be one broad market or industry, but then a strategy such as rent to rent, it's the niche. Education might be an industry, and then online business education, it's a niche. Social media, it's a market, and then we might have Instagram as a niche. So with these examples, you can figure it out yourselves. What is your industry, your market, and what is going to be your niche? Let's simplify things and go to the basics. Now, when you figure it out, and when you know that you are going maybe Instagram, and maybe you are going rent to rent, for example, as property, or when you're going, online business such as education market, then you understand what pool of people are looking for information on those particular categories. Then when we find out what our niche is, regardless of the topic, it could be dieting for women, it could be Instagram information, YouTube information, it could be online business education, online courses education, it could be rent to rent as a property strategy. This could be regardless of what that topic is. With that particular niche, you're gonna be attracting a certain target audience. Now that's the pool of people that are interested in those things that are part of your niche. So then we know what the target audience is, and the way we're finding our ideal client is by actually picking the person in that target audience that fits the most our category and it's aligned with our personal experience. So to make it easier to understand, you want to have your market, you want to have your niche, target audience, and then you're gonna be looking at your client avatar, at your ideal client persona, whichever way you wanna name it. That's not even that important. So when we're looking at that client avatar, that usually it's very much aligned with ourselves, because that client that we're trying to serve, that ideal client we're trying to market to, it's someone that we used to be before we knew this knowledge, before we experienced certain shifts, before we had our turning point moment or light bulb moment. That's the person who we are trying to target and match with. So the most work you're gonna have to do, it's actually on your ideal client. And what I mean by most work is by actually digging deeper into that person. You might have the target audience of online business education, but in that online business education, if you're a 20-year-old that has been doing online video gaming and created a game that has been going really well, and you want to show people how you've done it and teach them how they can do the same thing, might not be relevant to someone at 40 that wants to do online business, but wants to do online business on law, teaching people how to go through exams and how to be better, at their lawyer job or whatever it is that they are doing. That might not be relevant to them. So that's why we need to create our ideal client persona or avatar, whichever way you want to name it, because that's the person we want to attract. And usually it's someone very similar to us. As much as you might be thinking, oh, that the niche and the ideal client avatar, it's something outside ourselves, it's actually not, because the niche that we have to pick has to be directly related to our experience, our expertise, our knowledge, our education, and directly related to what we love as well. Because if you don't like something that you're trying to do and something that you're trying to monetize, you're not going to be doing it for a very, very long time. And then the ideal client avatar, it's someone that we know because we've been in this person's position, situation, circumstance, and we know how to come out of it because we've been through certain transformational moments and we have a personal story and we came out of that, that stumbling blocks, those stumbling blocks that we might have had, just as the ideal client has, and we came out successful on the other end. This doesn't mean that, oh, you became a millionaire, or oh, you own how many properties. This can be just a mindset shift, how you overcame certain blocks in your life, how you became better at money management, how you became better at maybe having a better sleeping routine or better diet, or just feeling happier overall. How are you overcoming limiting beliefs? It can be multiple things. It doesn't need to be just stats in terms of achievements that you might think people want. Some things to look out when you're looking at your client avatar are some things such as age, because that's extremely, extremely important. It might be the number one most important thing. The second thing you want to look at is gender, because at the moment, people might prefer to work either with males, either with females, or people that identify as male or females. Then you want to look at the relationship status and family status. Do they have kids? Do they don't have kids? Are they married? Are they single? This is going to help a lot to identify your client avatar. Country of residence might be relevant as well if you're doing something in person with these people as well. Because if they live on another continent and you want to work with them on a one-to-one basis in person, you might not be able to. Ethnicity, again, this might be relevant to certain people that want to target just a specific audience of people. Education level and employment status. This will also give you a good understanding of your ideal client. And the more you dig deeper into all of these things, the more you will understand their personal situations. And when you understand that, you understand how they feel, which is bringing us to two main pillars of content that you want to start looking at. What do they feel in terms of pain and problems? What do they struggle with? And second, what do they actually want? What do they actually aspire to? And when you know these two things about the client avatar, what are their pains and problems and what do they want, then it's going to make it easier for you to tailor all the content online or to tailor your product or services based on them. But remember, you cannot just say, oh, that's my person. You want to look at every single step. What's the market? What's the niche? What's the target audience? And then what's the ideal client? Who is the ideal client? And create that avatar. This is my advice for everyone that wants to get started in business and you don't know exactly what your niche is and who your ideal client is. Make sure you let me know in the comments below what your niche is and who is your ideal client, and if you've created your client avatar. Also, make sure you like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video and you would like more related content. And with this being said, if you would like to discover how to create your online course or training program and you would like to package the knowledge that you have, make sure you watch the video listed here, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, share the love.